Welcome everyone to Legion Gaming. I'm your host Donnie, and as always, I'm joined by club co-host Deucy.
Hello, everyone.
Deucy, how are you this fine Saturday afternoon?
Well, I am full and ready to talk about games. It weirdly feels like I've been gone a while, but it's only been our usual couple of weeks.
It's been the usual couple of weeks, and it's been weird that we skipped last week. We took a little break from our episodes, but it does feel like I haven't talked to you in person in a while. But it was literally 2 weeks ago when we had Mike and we did our
the Fantasy Star.
The Fantasy Star 4 episode, which was a lot of fun. But yes, we're back once again with another, I would say, pretty great episode, right?
I'm excited for this one.
Me too. This is a series that we have a lot of fondness for.
I didn't realize how much of a chunk of my childhood this is, but it's like I've played mostly all of these.
It really, yeah. I'd say I played most of these as well, but we don't want to drop too many hints. We'll just get to it. We're covering the Tiny Toon Adventure games today. We're covering up until ACME All-Stars, which was the latest Genesis release. I use the term latest in the sense that it was released in 1994, somewhere around there.
Wow,
so
I
not
didn't
the most
realize.
Recent.
I didn't realize it was that late for that. Same with the Wacky Sports on Super, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were 94, 95.
Yeah.
So we're covering those games today, which will be a lot of fun. But before we get into those, Deucy, what have you been playing lately?
Been playing quite a bit, but a lot of the same. Outer Worlds, Topspin. I played. Because I was playing these to like refresh myself, and also I had never played the Sega Tiny Toons, so I dusted off my Sega, played that, and then I ended up playing Championship Pro-Am, the RC Pro-Am.
Oh yeah, because you got that recently at the GameSwap.
Yeah,
on the GameSwaps. Yeah,
and I played that because I'm a huge fan of RC Pro-Am on Nintendo, and even on Game Boy I got it recently, and what's it called, Super Pro-Am or Super RC Pro-Am, something like that. It translates very well to Game Boy. Like, it didn't really need much different about it. And then the Sega one is just like, a 16-bit upgrade to it. The weird thing is, I noticed there are now 6 trucks, year 1, and you have 5 opponents, but you still will lose the race or lose a life if you're 4th or lower. So now you just have more opportunities to lose.
So they just didn't account for the fact that there's more racers.
Yeah.
They kept the same rules as the Nintendo one.
They also still have the same glitch where randomly the yellow truck or yellow car, whatever one you're on, will randomly like hit the NOS and just lap everybody in the field, and you cannot stop it no matter what you do to it. Mm. It happened in Nintendo, and I figured, well, that's a Nintendo glitch. It's a weird 8-bit thing. No, it still happens in this. Like, come on, guys.
I wonder how much of the Nintendo one was reused, if that's a thing. I don't know how the Genesis versions are coded or whatever. But I wonder if some of the DNA of the Nintendo one is in the Genesis one.
Yeah,
glitches and all.
I was like, the first few races, I was like, man, I'm really digging this, and I think they got rid of all the issues that the Nintendo had. Oh, nope, never mind. There it goes. But yeah, after that, I've been playing just a ton more Topspin. Mm-hmm. Like, out of all the sports games that have come out recently, that one just hooked me, and I finished my first full year in it, the full season. I played 5 tournaments because you have to rest a lot, in between months when you get injured. Won all 5 of those tournaments, and then I ranked up enough to where I can go into like they call it the TS 500. It's like the middle level of tournaments. And not only that, but then I played a person. It was in the December of the first year. And I played a person. It was a one-on-one match, like tie-break scoring. It wasn't even regular scoring. I beat them, and I unlocked the ability to purchase a house.
Oh, I didn't know you could buy a house in this game.
Yeah, you don't see it. It's
Yeah.
just in theory, but it's set to certain lands or certain areas of the map of the globe. So, like, my house is in Germany, and now anytime I travel to anywhere in Europe, I actually get a rest bonus because I'm only traveling from my home.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Because the wrestling stuff, I would say the penalty is pretty severe. Like, it seems like once you travel around for events or wherever else, like you're pretty low on your stamina and at risk of injury.
Yeah, if you go from like the US or Europe to Australia for the Australian Open or anything that's happening down there, you lose about like 15 to 20% of your stamina
Yeah.
before you even step into a match. And you're kind of screwed that way. But now, if you're traveling to various tournaments all around Europe, you get the rest break, and later on you can face more people and unlock more houses to purchase. So I could buy one in New York. I can buy one
You have
in
houses
Australia.
all over the world.
Yeah,
and rest as you need. For
and then you have
career.
like, if you have a primary house, that's like your main one that you stay at in your off season, you get some type of bonus. Like, you get a certain amount of rest bonus if you're traveling in certain areas, or you get a certain amount of, I don't know if it affects your playing skill, but you get a bonus for that specific thing. Meanwhile, you still have those other houses that you can go to, and you'll get the rest bonuses. But they might not be your primaries, but at least you still own them. And I was like, this is blowing my mind. Just when I thought I got into the groove of things, and I was like, okay, I finished a year, I'm going right into year 2. All this new stuff. Oh, I leveled up my coach to level 3. They call it gold tier. And now all of a sudden, he's worried about how I'm playing. And while you're playing the match, there's this little percentage next to your score, and it goes up and down based on how well you're swinging and if you're winning points. Like, if you win a point and it goes, 15 love, if you hit a perfect shot that made it a winner, he'll approve and it'll go up a couple percentages. If you win a point and it was like a too slow and you just got lucky, quote unquote, it'll go down a few points. And I'm like, listen, man, I just won 5 tournaments. You better just sit there and ride my coattails. Like,
he's trying to drive you further.
Don't judge me.
Yeah, they make movies off this story, Deucy. Yeah, you could be a global tennis superstar, but your coach is keeping you in line here.
It's just so crazy how much they added onto this career mode that I haven't even unlocked yet. I'm looking forward to getting into the majors, the ones that everybody sees on TV.
Yeah, if you've gotten that, this type of stuff with sort of the midpoint where you're at, I can't imagine what else to be adding for the pro level.
Yeah, I know you can also rank your coach up to like platinum level. You also, as you do challenges, you unlock bonus points to your attributes.
Yeah,
through him or her. I think there's some women coaches too, but yeah, it's just, I think it benefits you to stick with one coach for a while, and then as you level up, maybe you want to go to a different coach that is going to offer better bonuses. Also, some of those aren't even available until you reach higher ranks.
Yeah, I know, and there's also some of those little challenges in between tournaments. Those more unlocked too when you get like silver, gold, and I think platinum level too, right? They're probably a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Than bronze was.
Yeah.
But it's another layer of challenge, I would say.
Yep, and then those also get you like higher XP and everything.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish this game had was like realistic money earnings, where like I just won a tournament and I can barely afford a pair of shorts in the pro shop.
Inflation is real. That's pretty funny. But you can afford a house though, right?
Yeah.
How much are the houses in this game?
I was lucky. That was like 300 something of the little virtual coins.
Oh my God. See, that's still unrealistic. That houses cost more than that. At least got you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all you've been playing? Just some top spin and some retro stuff?
Yeah, and like I said, jumping in and out of Outer Worlds and other things. Little Kitty, Big City is still on there.
Yeah, it's on your list. Yeah, I've been kind of the same thing. Like we talked about in the Fantasy Star episode, where I've been kind of floating between games, like trying to find something that's really will get my hooks into me. So I'm still going through Stellar Blade. I think I'm like 2/3 through that game. I really, really love that game. By the way, if I haven't professed it before, it's been really enjoyable. But then I also got into Animal Well, which I've been looking forward to for a while. It's a game by the publishing company that's owned by he's a YouTuber named Video Game Donkey. He's very famous with the youngins. He's at I think he's just not in my
Aren't they
age
all?
range. Yeah, I'm not a fan of his reviews. Like I don't, they're funny for some people, but I don't care for them. But it doesn't matter. He has helped publish this game, which is really excellent. It's by an indie developer. It's essentially a Metroidvania puzzle game, which is really cool. So there's no real combat in the game. Like there's a couple of instances where you might be chased by these ghosts because there's no real story. Like you're essentially inside a well. You're freeing the 4 animal spirits, which is sort of like a section of the map. So you have to traverse their area, and then you do sort of a challenge, or like it's like I use the term boss fight loosely because it's really just you setting off like a firecracker or something to like scare them off to hit a switch, right? Like the combat is really tertiary to anything else. This is first and foremost more of a puzzle game, and there's some serious brain twisters in here. Like there's some I was looking at screens like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
Because you have the same tools, and it's not like Metroid where, or other Metroidvanias where you might get stuck because you don't have an ability yet. There's some instances that might be the case, but in most senses, there's the 4 areas are synced where you're gonna get the ability you need to traverse or complete the puzzles in there. But the puzzles can be pretty freaking tough. I don't mean in like a negative way where I think there's a stupid break of logic. This game really relies on environmental narrative storytelling. So it's like you'll notice like these sort of hanging chandelier things that kind of tell you where you can throw your frisbee to ride across, because you can ricochet your frisbee off a wall and then ride that across the area. So stuff like that where there's environmental tells of what you should do, like a puzzle solution. And I flew right through the game. It was like 6 hours. I loved a lot of it. There were some things I had with some of the puzzles were like, oh come on, like this is a little too difficult. Like some of it requires some really strict timing on jumps. But it's an overall enjoyable game. It's definitely worth playing. Like it's a solid 9 on my sort of Metroidvania scale.
Oh wow.
There is a true ending. I don't know if I'll get it because it requires you to get 64 eggs that are hidden around the area or hidden around the entire map. I think I got like, I don't know, I want to say like 16 or 17 of them, and they're pretty damn well hidden. And the thing is like, I don't know if there's a checklist or anything because I don't want to go back to collect the last, wherever it is, 30, 40 to get the true ending because I don't know what I didn't get.
I was gonna say, like at this point, you're like, nope, already got that one.
Yeah,
nope, already got that one.
Yeah, right. So it's like I don't know. I have to look into seeing if there's some way to reconcile what you've collected and what you haven't, because it'll be a nightmare otherwise. Because I don't know. Like there's no. You have warp points in the game. Like there's ways to get. The map isn't too huge where you can traverse through every area, but some areas in the map you can only traverse through a certain way because you opened up something, right? Like you might have to travel through a pipe or something. So if you're trying to go search to in a specific spot, you might have to go through, literally jump through a lot of hoops to get there. So I don't know if I'm going to go for 100% completion on there, but I may. But it's definitely one of my favorite games I've played this year. It's been really, really good just because it's kind of like a chill puzzle game. It's not so combat heavy. There's not, there's no real pressure. It's some really good brain twisting puzzles. The other game I really got into was Mullet Mad Jack.
Oh yeah.
I sent you a video of this, and it's really
bonkers.
Yeah. This game, like, don't blink.
Yeah.
Because the whole premise for this game is you're going through this giant building, sort of like a hotel. There's 80 floors, and then each chapter is broke up in 10 floors each. So you go through each floor, and then the final floor has the boss character. Well, those first 9 floors, you have 10 seconds to beat each level. Literally 10 seconds. And the way you earn more time is you get like headshots, you shoot people in the nuts, you get a bonus for that. If you do environmental kills, you get a bonus for that. So the whole idea is like you're supposed to keep your combo multiplier as well as your time multiplier up so that you won't die, because anytime you take damage, it knocks a few seconds off, et cetera, et cetera.
This is like that Statham movie Cranked.
It kind of is like Cranked. Yeah, or like Shoot 'em Up.
Yeah.
That with Clive Owen back then.
Yeah.
So it's just blistering speed. Like I don't blink when I play through some of the levels. Like it's like some of the levels are like 25 to 53 seconds long, and it's got this really awesome, badass like 80s double dragon, like neon.
The art style is amazing.
It looks so freaking good. And then all the enemies. So the whole premise of this game is like your girlfriend gets kidnapped by robillionaires, as they call them, because the world's been taken over by robot billionaires. So you have to kill billionaires to get your girlfriend.
So not even historically accurate, just accurate.
Accurate, yeah.
Accurate to today.
There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek references, like like millennials like us, we get like there's his buddy is like this AI Tamagotchi that he talks to that helps him unlock doors and this and that, like in between cutscenes, and like there's an unbox mode where. This game's digital. Yeah. So there's no physical box. There's one menu that has like this little unbox thing where like it gives you tips about things, and like it says like, in the olden days, our ancestors used to get big box PC games, So it has all the humor that I loved, and like I blasted right through the game, pun not intended. It's only like 6 or 7 hours long, and there's an endless mode. There's a ton more stuff you can unlock, because this is also a bit of a roguelike where every time you die, you restart the chapter from floor 1 or whatever floor you're on. And then each floor you complete, you can get a new pickup. Like you can level up your weapons, or like your bullets might ricochet. Like it's a roguelike in that sense.
When you restart, do the level layouts change?
Oh, they do. So they're not randomly generated. From what I understand, the levels are handcrafted, but there's like a set of them that rotate. So you won't play the same level twice necessarily, but you'll play like layouts that are very similar to each other. You might have to repeat them and everything. I loved it. Like, it's just one of those breakneck games where you and I were talking about it offline earlier, like Hotline Miami, or I was a big fan of Neon White, where it's like a platformer thing where it's just get from point A to point B as fast as you can and don't die.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games that's like, I feel like it would have been great on the Steam Deck, but I played on my PC all the way through. I hope it comes to console because I think you might enjoy it. I don't know.
I forgot about that. No, yeah, I was looking at the videos you sent me because it was by, what is it, G-Man?
G-Man Lives.
Yeah, and I always enjoy his like reviews and his quick walkthroughs and things because he throws in a lot of humor, plus his accent is hilarious. But when I was looking at it, I was like, this looks awesome, but I know myself. And I know I will probably get frustrated.
It can get that way because there's like chapter 7. There's only 8 chapters, and chapter 8's like 2 levels. Like, it's a big final boss fight and like another floor. But chapter 7 was hard. Like, there's these little explosive mines all over the place. There's lasers that can block your pathways. It's like you almost have to pause for a brief moment to see what's in front of you to know where your path is. But you have like a brief moment of doing that because things are flying at you. They're exploding.
The time is counting down.
Yeah, the time's counting down. But I will say, though, it's really cool. They added a bunch of different difficulties. So there's like an easy mode where you get more time for every kill, or like you get, half damage. And there is a mode where there's no time limit. You just play straight through the game, which is really cool. Like, if you want to learn how the game works, or get more familiar with it. So I definitely commend them. Like, it's a small indie developer, and they did a lot to make this
accessible.
Exactly. Have a broader appeal, because I 100% understand. Like, there's some games where if it's like a roguelike, or if it's just I die too often, like I can't get into it. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I can't do this.
Yeah.
But then Millet Magic, it's so fast that it was really easy for me to get back into.
Yeah, I was surprised with myself when I played Hotline Miami. You die a ton in that.
Yeah, you do.
That is nothing but trial and error. But like, I would play it off to the side while we were doing Warzone. And if I was like dead and waiting for somebody to revive me, I would just be playing Hotline Miami on the side.
Yeah.
It's redoing it over and over and over.
I like those kind of games where you just pick it up for a few minutes, like you're not heavily invested into it. And like the levels are showing up to where you just, you get a few in. It's a very arcade-like experience, which I always love and I'm always attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for what we've been playing. So I think we're going to get into the wacky and loony world, Deucy, of Tiny Toon Adventures. All right, Deucy, our main events here. One of our fondest, or one of the cartoons I think we have a lot of fond memories for, especially in the early 90s. Tiny Toon Adventures. What do you remember about this show, Deucy?
I remember just loving it. Like, I always wanted to watch it. I was always a Disney kid, so I loved the Disney afternoon cartoons, DuckTales and Chip and Dale and stuff like that. But this was like the one outside of Disney that I would always want to watch. And I always wished it was like at Disneyland, but Warner, Disney, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I would go out of my way to watch this one. And then Animaniacs kind of, came as a spiritual successor to it. But yeah, this was so good. Even my parents liked it. They didn't mind watching it with me, because you find out there's a lot of humor for the adults that at least will fly over the kids' heads, and then the kids will just love the cartoon characters.
Yeah, it's weird. So Tiny Toon's Adventures, if we didn't stipulate already, but it originated in September 1990, which I really didn't remember it was that old of a show. I for some reason thought this was like 92, 93.
I mean, it ran in reruns for a long time.
And that's maybe what it was, because I would have been 5 when this show debuted.
Yeah.
And I don't think I watched it that young. I definitely watched it probably when I was like in 2nd or 3rd grade, when by then I was nearing its end, and I don't know if I'm sure I'd been seeing new episodes and reruns at that point. But I remember I kind of felt the same way, where I watched this as a kid. I loved it as part of the afternoon block, especially after school. And it was actually really funny. Like, I don't remember too many of the episodes now because I'm revisiting a long time. But it was a really funny and hilarious show. Like, they were sort of downscaled or smaller versions of the Looney Tunes characters that we all grew up with, kind of. Like this more of our parents' generation more than anything else. But this was definitely like one of the more awesome shows I remember watching, just because everyone was like a little more relatable as kids. Like they had Buster Bunny, they had Montana Max.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, they were getting into the wacky hijinks of the Looney Tunes, but on a kid's level.
Yeah, and I think this is in that weird era of cartoons where it's like you said, like Animaniacs, Bonkers. Like this is when cartoons I feel like were changing. Maybe for our generation, right? Just in terms of how their humor was, like it wasn't so slapstick, like it was a little bit more satirical and tongue in cheek in some instances.
I think this had a good balance because there was the one-liners where they would like maybe break the fourth wall.
Yeah,
and then there was also a pie to the face. Like you couldn't go wrong with
the
that.
Classic slaps. Yeah, like that's like the Daffy Duck kind of humor on there. Yeah. So this show actually has pretty interesting history. It started out with, it was created by Tom Ruegger, who created Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, and a few other shows at the time. He had been working with Warner Brothers. And this show was produced under Stephen Spielberg, which I remember being a big deal back then because I remember seeing the Amblin television logo.
They even said Steven Spielberg presents up on the top of the thing.
Which was a huge deal because Steven Spielberg is one of the greatest directors of our time.
Yeah.
In all of movie making. So for him to be attached to a cartoon.
And he loved it. He would even do little cameos and voice spots.
I remember
the
animated Steven Spielberg, which is really funny. Yeah. So the show was created because in the late 80s they wanted to come up with some sort of idea for WB animation to get they wanted to breathe a second life to to their animation properties, and he had some new idea. And the what's his name here, Terry Semel, he thought that having like these sort of kidified versions of Looney Tunes would be something that would be approachable for kids. And he saw this because shows at the time like it was Flintstone Kids, Pulp Named Scooby-Doo, where they had like the kid versions of like Scooby-Doo. What's his name? Scrappy, I think it was.
Yeah.
Right?
He did not go over well.
I don't think he did. He always felt like when sitcoms would add that other character, like let's see, there was Fresh Prince with Little Nicky.
Oh yeah.
Growing Pains with Chrissy was her name, right?
Chrissy and Leo DiCaprio.
And Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And then Full House with the twins, and then Brady Bunch with Oliver. They always add like some character that kind of rejuvenate the series.
Flintstones had Gazoo.
Yeah. Gazoo. That's right. So I guess the thing back then was turning them into like smaller versions of the shows.
Muppet Babies,
yes. And that's how Tiny Toons sort of was originated. Is like they felt the need to get some sort of animated TV show on TV, and they thought by making these kid versions of Looney Tunes it would work. And it did. Because this show would eventually sort of spawn toys, games, books. I think there's stuff like watches, like pretty much anything else that they could monetize back then. Lunchboxes.
Everything.
And this show did win a ton of awards. Like it won multiple daytime Emmys and primetime Emmys for like outstanding animated program, for outstanding writing, and a lot more. So this show was a huge success beyond anything else that I think we would have seen back then, especially for a new cartoon. And it was definitely my first back then too. Like I remember watching this all the time back then.
Yeah, I really think it was like I mentioned, where adults could enjoy it too. It wasn't like Muppet Babies in the fact that like everything was teaching little kids a lesson. This was just kids having fun and making jokes.
Yeah, it was really lighthearted, and I haven't revisited this show in a long time, but I have a feeling it's probably would still hold up. Now I know there's a reboot. I haven't watched that at all.
I forgot about that.
Did you? Because I remember hearing about that, and I guess it finally came out within 2023, late 2023.
Yeah,
but I've not heard anything about this. Like no one I know has really seen it. I haven't heard anything. Granted, I haven't been looking on the internet, but I don't know what the reaction is to it. But it seemed like it just kind of came and went.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to check it out, but also while we were researching this and playing the games again, I wanted to go back and try to watch the originals.
Me too.
And they're not really on any streaming service. Luckily, I have the DVDs somewhere. But yeah, I wanted to just easily pop one on and try to remember and see also like if I now understand the adult humor to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about, because you brought that up, and I think that's something that's a lot different now when I watch some things we saw growing up when we grew up with it.
Yeah,
is now I can catch some of the jokes that went over my head as like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And now it's even more funny. I'm like, oh, they really put this on for kids and adults understood this. Like,
well, there's also like a lot of references to movies and things.
Yeah, that's true.
Where like we might not have seen it as a kid, but now that we've gotten older, we've seen things like Aliens or Star Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's interesting because you're right. Tiny Toons and Animaniacs feel like they were the most satirical of the afternoon block. Like they're always pointing jokes or referencing something, some big movie that again, adults probably would have seen, because it's not like they're referencing like Goofy movie or something, you know?
Yeah.
They're making jokes about stuff that we probably wouldn't have seen as kids.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's not streaming anymore, but it's WB, so they've been, you know,
I
WB's
thought-
being WB.
Yeah, I figured they might be on Max, but only the reboot is.
Of course, that
Yeah.
makes sense. They want to put attention on that. I guess so.
Weirdly, like the Animaniacs reboot, or not even a reboot, it was like a continuation, but that got a lot more attention than this Tiny Toons one.
It did, because I remember that. I remember hearing, you know, reading articles about that and seeing a lot of ads for it. And Tiny Toons, again, like when I heard of it, it's something that I know was being produced, and then it seemed like there was a lot of silence, and then all of a sudden released.
Yeah.
So that's why when I was looking this up, I was surprised released, because in my mind, I thought they hadn't released it just yet. So I'm curious to check it out and see if it's, you know, if it's worth a damn or not.
Yeah.
But with that said, like we mentioned, like there's, you know, they spawn toys, games, books, everything with this. And today we're covering a lot of the earlier games. We're going to be covering Tiny Toon Adventures from the Nintendo all the way up to ACME All-Stars, which was on the Sega Genesis. Now, there's a lot of Tiny Toon games that were released after that, like a lot more than even I would have expected.
I had no idea.
Yeah, like there was a couple on PS1 which I knew about. There's Plucky, was it something in the Beanstalk, the Great Beanstalk, I think it's called. There's Toonenstein, which I had never heard of until I looked it up. There's a bunch on like Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. Like there's a couple on there. So it's surprising that Tiny Toons, despite the show not being on since 1993, 1994, they still were making a ton of games after the fact.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that culturally relevant anymore.
Me neither.
Like,
And I assumed, you know, because we weren't playing them.
No.
But I guess I had to reach some new audience.
yeah.
And I don't think there's been a cartoon since the 94 show. So again, it's pretty interesting that they made Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, because I think the most recent game was 2001, 2002, somewhere around there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was on Game Boy Advance, and they had one that was going to be on, I think, PS2 or something that was canceled. I don't remember what it was. It was
That
some
makes sense.
newer game, yeah. So we're going to start with the first game on our list. This was Tiny Toon Adventures, released on the Nintendo in 1991. This was published and developed by Konami, which they did basically all of these games. I think there's only one that they didn't do, which we'll talk about. It's the Cartoon Workshop game.
Mm-hmm.
But Deucy, Tiny Toons, what do you remember about this game, and how did you come across it back in the day?
I don't fully remember. I was thinking about that actually on the way here, but I'm pretty sure I got it for Christmas. And I vaguely remember getting it with one other game. I don't remember what that other game was, though. Mm-hmm. But I just remember that there were 2 boxes under the tree. Like, excuse me, before we threw out the box, there were like the 2 game boxes just sitting there unwrapped under the tree waiting for me to pop it in and play. But I don't remember asking it. I probably asked for it. I probably saw it.
I'm sure you saw the cartoon.
It was probably advertised during the cartoon. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I want that. Definitely didn't have to rent it or anything first. I was just like, no, we definitely want to get this. And then when I played it, it was luckily, like, it's challenging, but it's one of the ones that I could beat regularly from an early age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a typical side-scrolling platform. You play as Buster, and you can also play as Plucky, Dizzy, and Hampton. Furball, excuse me, yeah. And they all have different abilities in here. So Dizzy can destroy walls and enemies with his Tasmanian spin, because he's like a mini version of the Tasmanian devil. Furball can climb vertical surfaces, which always blows my mind when I see that in a Nintendo game, because
he was OP.
he was.
I usually selected him for every level.
He can avoid a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Plucky has like this flying hover kind of thing where you can mash A, and like he flutters his wings and he kind of hovers down.
And he swims the best. Like, you know, in Mario 3 when you get the frog suit and now suddenly you can just go anywhere in the water, that's Plucky.
Yeah.
Like, other characters will have to do the little Mario hop through the water, but he is just, it's a second nature.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really, can Furball swim? Does he freak out? I forgot to notice.
Not well. It's just like the others where it's like bloop.
Well, I just thought maybe he was like a cast, like he won't, he refuses to swim or something.
He's afraid of it.
Yeah, like he just won't jump into the water.
Yeah.
This game is pretty cool though. I would say the graphics are really nice for a Nintendo game. Like, it's 1991, so Nintendo's well in its groove. I think, actually no, the Super Nintendo was out this time, because this was December 1991. And there's also a pretty good variety of levels in here. There's the hills, the wetlands, the trees, downtown Wacky Land, which eventually becomes the basis for the second game, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And there's also Monty's Mansion, because he's really the bad guy in here, because he's kidnapped Babs, of course. So you have to save money.
They went. It's 91. They went with the old classic.
Yeah,
trope.
the typical damsel in distress thing, which is, it's whatever. Like there's no, I don't remember if is there many cutscenes throughout the game, because I don't think there's really much of anything.
There's only one in the beginning and then one at the end.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's like an open cutscene. So it's like you're not here for the story. Is
no.
What I'm saying. And then also Duck Vader in here, which is really cool. He's the secret boss where if you collect a certain number of carrots and they're divisible by 11, then I guess you unlock this boss. Did you get to him back in the day? You did?
Every once in a while, he would show up you're on this overworld map. If anybody's watched the cartoon, you always see this map of Acme Acres where they live. And that's like the main hub of the game. You don't get to control it. You just hop along from World 1 to World 2, that sort of thing. But every once in a while, you might not even realize you did it. The little Star Destroyer comes, and it looks like a piece of Swiss cheese.
That's great.
That's their satire on it. And then it hovers over you, and you get sent up to him, and it's not even a level. It's just a boss fight. And I've only beaten him like once or twice. It's pretty difficult, the jumping timing you have to do to get him.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm just gonna give a spoiler to everything here. So I'd say just about all these games are pretty good. For the most part. Like there's some that I would say like are below average, but there's not one of these here that we'll cover that's like truly just the shits. It's just all these games are pretty good. This one is pretty competent, but I will say the one thing that I'm not a big fan of is the collision detection kind of sucks.
Oh.
Sometimes I feel like I wasn't hitting the enemies from high enough. Like you have to hit them, you have to jump on them, right?
I get that, yeah.
So it's like sometimes you'll bop them like on their forehead, and it still counts as a death.
Yep.
Even though it's supposed to like directly on their head.
I think that's probably what got me the most against him, because you have to bounce off a stormtrooper and then jump high enough to get over onto him.
Yeah.
And you think you're going to clear it, and then you don't.
And that's really, that's really my biggest problem with this game. Is like there's nothing really bad about it. Like it's a perfectly competent side-scrolling game. The graphics look really good. The sprites look great, and they have all the personalities of the characters with their abilities.
All the characters look like what you want them to look like.
Yeah, like one thing I would say for Konami throughout all these games is I would say pretty much all these games nailed the look and feel of Tiny Toons. The humor,
the music, like
they did a fantastic job with all these, and that's pretty great for being a licensed property at that time, because we had a lot of garbage games.
Yeah,
under licensed cartoons and whatever else.
Yeah, when stuff barely looks like their source material.
yeah, and this game again, it's pretty basic because there's your typical pickups. There's carrots. You can jump on. I think it's like they look like little treasure boxes or something, right?
There's little balls or little balloons that kind of float, and then one of them gives you an extra hit, because you can only take one hit and you're out.
Yeah.
Or if you get a little heart, you get 2 hits. Mm. But it's that sort of difficulty. And then every once in a while you get this little bouncing ball. Kind of looks like the Pixar ball.
It does.
And then you swap to the character that you chose to take with you.
Yeah, so you choose like a partner character, and then in most cases, like I really like playing as Plucky, but Furball is definitely the one you want to use.
And actually, it's kind of like Mario 2 in that various levels have a specific character that will work best in it.
That's true. I didn't even think to talk about that, but you're right. Like it's definitely like character specific, which is great because again, it's like this could be just a cut and dry. They could have just put Buster as the main character, and it could have been get from point A to point B and finish the level.
Yep.
But it's cool that they added variety with the characters and different abilities, because that does add a lot to the game. Because this game isn't very long either. It's a typical platform. It's like 45 minutes to an hour at most.
Yeah,
right?
I think I saw some quote unquote long plays on YouTube that were only like a half an hour.
Oh Jesus, so it's even shorter than I thought. Yeah, because I only got to play the first few levels when I played through this, because I'm pretty sure I had to borrow this from you back then.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like you owned it. I don't know if Vito did or anyone else.
I definitely owned it, and like I said, I would play this regularly and just beat it in one sitting.
Yeah, and this is definitely one of those games that you just get in and just enjoy your time with it. Like I said, my only issues with it is the collision that's kind of wonky, and I think that sometimes it's a little slippery sometimes, the controls. They feel a little off.
Oh, I got used to that back then. It just felt like, yeah, this is Tiny Toons. It's different than others.
Yeah, like it's not anything bad. Like it's not like in the sense where I would fall off a platform and die. But it just feels like it's not as tight as it could be.
Some of it you can use to your advantage, and you can see it in speed runs. I mean, those guys just run and jump at perfectly timed intervals, and everything works out for them.
I found myself doing that with Buster, where like because there's a lot of hills here, like Mario 3, where you could slide down them and kill enemies, right? But you could hold B and sprint, and there's times where like I was just I would jump off a hill and like bop the enemies in a row where I wouldn't even touch the ground, just traversing through the level. It's really cool. Like you couldn't really do that as much in Mario or other platforming games at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll talk to them about the next one here, Deucy. This is Tiny Toon Adventures, Babs' Big Break on the Game Boy. This was released in February 1992, so just a short time after the Nintendo one.
Wow, only a couple months.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It seems like it would be a little bit later, but I guess it makes sense that they released them together because they were probably advertised together all the same.
I was going to say, they were definitely advertised together. I'm surprised they weren't released at the same time.
Yeah, well, maybe they were hoping to, and probably just got delayed or something like that, right? Because it seems like for December 91, they would have wanted the Nintendo one to get out for Christmas.
Yeah.
And maybe they feel like this, we could wait a couple months. This one is very much like the Nintendo one, though. I'd say it's like a reasonable translation. This one has a little bit of a different story where Montana Max has, he wants to destroy Babs' big dream of being a star. So again, Babs is like the damsel in distress.
But she's never kidnapped, which is nice.
Yeah, there is a plus. Like Montana just wants to be a prick and just ruin her
there's
dreams
like
and her
there's like
aspirations.
little cut scenes where you meet other characters and they mention while they're talking to you, oh, we just saw the girl bunny go through, or oh, we just helped so and so, like Babs, do something.
Yeah.
And then you're always constantly like 2 steps behind her.
Yeah. And in this one, you could play as Plucky, Hampton, Buster. Those are the only 3, and they all have different abilities too. So Buster has like, he throws a carrot that throws like at an arc, and he's also sort of the quickest character, I think, or I think he's like in the middle.
No, he's the fastest, I think.
Okay, and then Plucky, he throws like a pineapple that it ricochets at an angle, which is kind of useful and kind of not useful at the same time.
If you're good with it, it can kind of clear a screen.
It can, yeah, that's right. If you're playing it well enough, yeah. And Hampton is in here as well. He's the slowest, but he throws watermelons that roll on the ground.
He has my favorite weapon because he just bowls them.
Well, I like that weapon because aside from the flying enemies that you can't really hit with it, you could just stand behind the rolling watermelon and have it kill everything in your path.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of do that in certain levels. I would coast through. This one has 4 stages over the last one, which I think had, what was it, 5 or 6?
It had 6 in the last
6
one.
worlds, yes. This is a little bit condensed version of
Actually, and in the last one, each world had 3 stages. So
that's right. So it was like 18,
bunch.
19 of them with Duck Vader. This one has Acme Acres, where Disney's your helper, and he's also the boss, which I found out like you have to feed him at the end of the level, which is kind of fun. Then you go to a city where Furball is your helper, and you have to guess what trash can he's in, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And Arnold the Pitbull is the boss, and he's like this, bipedal dog who's like ripped and has like sunglasses. He's
it's
really
totally
funny.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
Arnold in his name, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a haunted house in a forest where Fifi La Fume is your helper, and you have to unlock her by opening or finding a switch to open her cage. And she also can knock trees down, which is pretty cool.
She knocks them down with her scent because she's a skunk.
She smells so bad. And then the final level is Mine's Mansion, where you have to find Shirley the Loon, and she has to break the door down, which is kind of funny.
She's awesome in the cartoon and in the games. She's like freaking Jean Grey.
Yeah, she
has telekinetic powers, and she like can meditate and hover.
Didn't she have like action parodies in some of the episodes too? Like, didn't she have like some wartime thing? I swear I saw there's like she had some helmet back or something like that.
Probably.
Right?
I think there
she was some badass squirrel kind of character back then. Yeah. And then there's a couple of bonus games in here. So Little Sneezer hosts them. One of them, it's like, you have to mash A and B together, right? I forgot if it's like a race or what.
It's a race. Which I played it recently, and I'm a lot better at it than when I was a kid.
Oh, I'm sure. And now you understand mashing.
Yeah.
And there's also a mini game where it's called Montana Mash, where it's like a whack-a-mole, which is funny that's in this game because it's also an ACME All-Stars, which we'll talk about. Like, it's funny that this was a theme they wanted to keep across games for some reason. And this was also ranked 4th in Nintendo Power's top 10 Game Boy games in 1992, which should tell you a lot, I guess, that this was one of the bigger games of that year. What did you think of this one, Deucy? Because for me, again, I enjoyed all these. I think this one I didn't enjoy as much because, back then, did you own this one? Did I borrow from you? I don't remember if I did or not.
This one, yeah, I for sure owned. I don't know when I got it. I might have gotten it for a birthday because, like you said, it came out in February. I probably got it that would March.
Make sense. Yeah, that would make perfect sense.
I already had the Nintendo one. They got me the Game Boy one. Yeah. But I loved this one. This was one of the ones on constant repeat in my Game Boy. I had everything memorized, like which little tubes to go in, if I wanted to go to a bonus room or if I wanted to skip it. Also, you also have to find these helper characters before you get to the point of the level where they help you. So I also had that all memorized where to go. And I playing it again though, I realized, there's no run button.
Yeah, and that's really my only criticism of this game is that it is so freaking slow, insanely slow. Like, granted, Plucky is a little bit faster because I think he is the quickest, right?
Maybe, yeah.
So he has a little bit faster walk speed, but everything else in this game, from the animations to your actual move speed, is slow. Like you're running through freaking quicksand or something.
You build up momentum in some other games, but the momentum doesn't get to any sort of speed.
No, it's just like a brisk walk at best.
It's kind of like steering a boat where you're going and then it takes them a little while to stop. Or unless you like jam on the other direction to like try to maneuver them, but sometimes you end up just sort of wandering into another enemy.
Yeah, the game is great otherwise, but it's really the only thing that struck me when I replayed this earlier today was that like how freaking slow this game could be.
But they also don't like swarm you with enemies, luckily, so you don't have to worry about like dodging, ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging.
I think that's the thing is that the thing I'm wondering is if, because the sprites all in here are pretty big. They're definitely not like Mario Land where you could barely tell it's Mario. These you could clearly just see what character is which, and the graphics look really, really good.
Yeah, even on the old screen, like if you have an original Game Boy and it's blurry, you can still make out all the characters.
So I think that I'm wondering if that's something where, because the sprites are so big that they couldn't make the game any faster, like scroll any faster.
That would make sense. And
also why there's not many enemies on the screen at once, because I think we talked about this in one of our older episodes. I forgot what it was. We were talking maybe Metroid 2 or something, where it seemed like the compromise a lot of Game Boy developers had back then was, do you want a faster game with small sprites, or you want like a more gorgeous game with slower gameplay?
Yeah.
And I think this falls more on the latter, which isn't a bad thing.
Which I'm fine with, because it really keeps a lot of the theme of the show in
Exactly. You need to have those characters and their personalities shine through on this game. You can't have like, a small facsimile of Dizzy in like this tiny pixel, right?
Yeah,
it wouldn't be nearly as fun.
He just turns into a triangle, and that's supposed to be the tornado.
Yeah, that spins somehow, right? So this, again, perfectly competent side-scrolling game. I'd say it's, is it one of my favorite Game Boy games? No, but is it a fun one? Hell yes, it is. I just say it's like it's going to take some getting used to how slow the game is.
I would definitely put it in my top 10 for Game Boy games.
Yeah,
maybe even close to top 5, but I don't know.
Oh wow,
I don't know for sure. But I mean, I just played it again last night and beat it all in one sitting. I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm at home again.
Yeah, again, that's what I do love about these games is that beyond the fact that we have nostalgia for the show, they are so simple to get in and play because they're just platformers. There's nothing special about them. There's nothing insanely difficult. They made this for kids, and even though you and I are nearing 40, we're still enjoying the hell of it because it's just like a chilled platforming time. You know? So I guess we'll go on to the next one there, Deucy. We'll go on to Tiny Toon Adventures Cartoon Workshop for the Nintendo. This was released in December 1992, so a year after the original game, and this was published by Konami, but developed by Novo Trade International, which was sort of an edutainment kind of development company at the time.
Ah, that makes sense.
And I think this is the only game on our list that isn't developed specifically by Konami, which is interesting. But it's also makes sense because this game is not a game necessarily. It's a literal cartoon studio. You didn't play this at all back then? No, because I don't think I knew this existed for a long time.
I saw it in a Nintendo Power, and it looked interesting, but at the same time, I was like, "That's not a game," so I don't even want to try it.
Yeah. So it's a weird one because, and by the way, some history on Novo Trade. They eventually became Appaloosa, and they're a much more famous developer. They have developed like 150 plus games by 2001, including like California games, which our friend Mike's really loves.
Oh yeah.
Echo the Dolphin, a big Genesis franchise.
Wow.
Let's see. There's Jaws Unleashed on PS2 and Xbox. That was a pretty cool game back then. It was like a movie-based Jaws game, like 30 years after the movie came out.
Yeah.
It was fun enough. Colibri, which most people won't know, but it's that 32X Hummingbird game. And there's also Wacky Races on PS1, which is based on the cartoon. I think there's also a Dreamcast version of that too. So they have a little bit of they've done a lot. This game is really weird though because it's sort of an educational game where the whole premise of this is you're designing and producing a cartoon. It's actually really cool for what it is being on the Nintendo because you can select your character and they all have different animations. They all have different scenes that you can put in the background. Like there's Acme University, there's like a forest theme, there's like a Western theme. And then you also have a timeline at the top. I did get to play this a little bit earlier today, even though it's like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing because I don't have any instructions.
Yeah.
But the UI seems like simple enough to where, you have like your top nav bar and then each one has a different function or different tools. So it's like one, you'll have your characters, and you could pull from your character palette there what animations there, and then you could place them on your scene, and then track where they're going to go, left to right, up to down, wherever. And you're making a full animation in this game with these different characters and scenes. You can tie them all together. The big downside, unfortunately, is that you can't save any of the progress you make. So
that blew my mind when you mentioned
that. Isn't that nuts? Like, I'm impressed alone for the fact that you can have a 5-minute cartoon in this game, which is a long time. That's 5 minutes of animation is a long freaking time.
Yeah.
But I texted you this too. I was like, imagine like how many hours you're putting in to make that 5-minute episode, and you can't record it. Like, if you're lucky and you're a kid and you're adept enough, you might be able to hook up your Nintendo into your VCR and record on tape.
Your brother could do this.
My brother could. He would do that. But otherwise, like, this is more of just like a novelty more than anything else. Like, I don't know how much time someone would spend on this knowing that all your progress is for nothing.
That just, I was so dumbstruck when you said that. I'm like, that makes this game almost a paperweight. Like
it almost does, because I'm sure there's someone out there, which is great. I'm sure someone out there started their animation career maybe because of this game.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Maybe they played it, and I love that. That's great. But as a kid, like, I think I'd be so defeated when it's like, hey, Deuce, you want to come to my house? I animated this thing last night. I can't turn the Nintendo off.
This is my only game on Nintendo.
Yeah, this is the only game we're playing today, by the way. We have to finish this episode today.
And this came out after Mario Paint, which is also a little surprising.
I didn't even consider that. You're right.
Yeah. So Mario Paint had the mouse. That was really what could get people started on their animation career. Mm-hmm. So this one, it's really, like you said, it's impressive for Nintendo for being on the NES. But after that, it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's just it's just sort of a glorified, Photoshop app on the Nintendo, which again, it sounds crazy, but it's just freaking awesome that it exists to begin with. But that's all it is, unfortunately. It's like, I doubt many people play this, because I can't imagine you would invest too much time in it.
I also don't think it's that like expensive on the
I can't imagine it's very sought after. No,
yeah.
Right? Like, again, it's purely novelty. I think it's freaking cool because the graphics do look good. It's just they're static for the most part, because they have canned animations. There's no combat, nothing else. This is just, like I said, it's just a glorified animation app for Nintendo. Cool to check out. Like, if you watch a playthrough on YouTube, which is fun, it's just people creating episodes, right? And it's actually kind of cool when you think about it that way, though, that like 30 plus years later, you could technically play this game and record your animations, not that you have any reason to.
Could you add little text bubbles or anything? Like have them talking?
It had pre-canned text bubble or text. So it's like you could choose different lines or different expressions, and it would have it on the screen. You couldn't like type them out, which would be an even bigger nightmare.
Yeah.
Like typing out every animation. Because you can also add sound effects. You can also add music. Like, you can also, depending on where your timeline is, you can interject music or inject music into it.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty cool. Like I said, it's a really robust kind of animation tool. It's just, that's all it is. There's nothing else to do in it, So I feel like even though we didn't play it, I feel like we had to mention it because it is kind of cool, and it's pretty unusual for any kind of game, especially related to a big franchise like Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next game. It's Tiny Toon Adventures 2, Trouble in Wacky Land for the Nintendo. This was released in April 1993 and was also published and developed by Konami once again. This one has Montana Max inviting all of his friends to an amusement park in Acme Acres because he is posed as a secret admirer, and he's sort of calling them in some sort of twisted game in a sense of coming to his Wacky Land amusement park. So this one is quite different than the original game, where this is like sort of a series of mini games set across an amusement park, and the open world, what am I saying?
Yeah.
The overworld map, you basically choose where you want to start and what game you want to play. I'd say most of the games here are pretty fun. They're not like anything amazing, but I don't know. I feel like I enjoy the first game more, even though this game looks and sounds better.
I really like this. I own this, and I got this after I already had a Super Nintendo, and it still made me want to go back and play my Nintendo, but I never beat it.
It's pretty hard
because I couldn't beat the Plucky bumper car level.
Yes, I wanted to talk about that.
Oh my god! So you know how like Plucky is the smaller version of Daffy, and Daffy can have a temper. If you want to see me have a Daffy Duck sized temper, let me play the darn plucky bumper cars.
This is rough. So the whole premise of the game is like you earn tickets by getting high scores with each of these amusement park games,
or just beating them,
Yeah, and then the whole thing is you get to the end, you're supposed to go to the fun house with Buster, and that's sort of like a platformer, kind of like a maze level.
That's mostly like the classic from the first game.
It is, yeah.
Classic
so
level.
the bumper cars. So there's a whole bunch of games. We'll get on bumper cars because I feel like that's probably one of the more offensive ones of the 5. There's only 5 areas in this game, and they all star different characters. So Plucky has bumper cars. Hampton has like this. He rides a train where the whole premise is it's like an auto-scroller. You're just trying to get to the front of the train, like the train engine.
Oh yeah.
And then Babs rides a roller coaster, which is weird. Like it's just sort of like a platforming game on a track.
Yeah, and then you have to like flip the track around, the car that she's on around, because like things will knock you off.
Exactly. So it's more of like an obstacle course more than anything else. Fribble has a log ride game, which I also don't like much at all, where it's like he's standing on a log and you have to dodge things that are being thrown at you. You have very little control, which I feel like what makes that game a lot more difficult than it needs to be.
It reminded me of the water level in Sega's Jurassic Park.
It did, yeah.
Except you have a little more control in that one. But this one, I didn't mind. I didn't mind the 3 levels other than the bumper cars, and I really liked this game because you could finally play as Babs.
Yes.
Even if it was that little thing, she couldn't go very far off of the track, but you still got to play as her.
It's still cool because the whole thing is, you want to get a variety of characters from the show, and I'm glad that most of these games try to attain that in some way. But you're right. It's great that they finally didn't leave Babs to be like some damsel in distress of like being kidnapped or having her dreams crushed by Monty.
It was always weird. Those first 2 games we already talked about, like putting her off to the side, when in the cartoon itself, she was never that character. She was an equal to Buster.
She was. Yeah, she had equal weight to him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's weird that they decide to, again, make her like a trope
in
a couple of the games. But it's fine. Like it's as a kid, we wouldn't have noticed because we were just used to like, your princess in another castle.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like, no, like Babs was her own little badass character. It's kind of weird that they do that. But bumper cars do see this. So I played this first because I don't remember playing this much as a kid. So I played bumper cars first because, it sounded cool. It's plucky. And there's a couple of big problems with this game because first one I would say is the AI is kind of atrocious because either they all stay in one spot or they go everywhere you don't want them to go. Mm-hmm. And the other part is the control of this game, of this minigame specifically, is pretty bad. You don't
hit the gas like a regular bumper car. You sort of like charge it up and launch it.
Yeah. It's like the equivalent of one of those pullback cars back in the day.
Yeah.
Where you pull it back, let it go, and it speeds off. But in here, if you want to go like a short distance, you kind of have to tap A. That's what's kind of doing is feathering it. Because if you judder in any direction, it doesn't matter. Like it's bumper cars, so the enemies rebound off the walls, you rebound off the walls. I got in a situation I think it was the second round of the bumper cars where the AI was stuck between 2 bumpers over and over and over.
Yep.
And you can't get to them from the front, so I had to go all the way around the level, coast around, tap that A, and then I had to bump them off of those bumpers to get them into the little hole because you're supposed to sort of sink them in these little holes. It's almost like, I guess, like golf in a sense or hockey.
Yeah.
Where you have to bump them into these holes to get to the next level. And this is the worst of the mini games in here. Like all these mini games are fine. Like I don't think there's anything bad about them. Like you might have some issues with control or anything else, but bumper cars is pretty shit.
Yep. Yeah, that would always be my game ender. And like sometimes I was like you. Sometimes I would try to go for it first so that if I could get it out of the way, the rest of it was smooth sailing. But then I could never get it out of the way, and I ended up not beating a single level and then turning the game off.
Yeah, because you have a time limit, I believe, and you also have do you have health with bumper cars? I don't remember.
Well, yeah, you can.
Oh, because you can fall in the hole.
You can fall in
the
hole, and you come back, but then you only have like 3 hearts to like.
Exactly, and I don't know if those refill up in between levels because you have to. I think there's 3 or 4 levels.
There's like
I can't
3,
remember, right?
And I don't think the time even refills between.
I don't think so either.
Rounds.
So there's just a lot going against you. This should be like the most fun of the mini games because it's bumper cars, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But it's a miss. It's an absolute miss. The rest of the game is totally fun. Like I enjoyed enough. I think I prefer the first game over this one, even though this game looks really good. I think the graphics in here are actually considerably better than even the first game. It's only a year apart.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in '93, that was when Nintendo was really putting out some of the best looking things, but at the end of its life.
Exactly. It was near the end, like in 94, 95, that's when it really started to whittle down. Yeah. So moving to the next generation, Deucey. We're going to the Super Nintendo now. We got Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Bust Loose, which was released in February 1993. So 1 month before Wacky Land on Nintendo, which is pretty cool that we got a Super Nintendo game right before the Nintendo game came out, right?
Yeah.
This one has 3 difficulty modes. This one's sort of a typical platformer, just like the others. But this one has a cool dynamic where Buster has like a dash, so you can tap with L or R, and it's a meter thing, so you can't just infinitely boost. But you can also run on walls and ceilings, which is a really cool mechanic that they've included or sort of injected in the level design as well.
Yeah, this really makes it more than just a typical platformer that you got on NES. I really liked the boost dynamic to this. I liked that there were a lot of these little statuette collectibles that helped you either refill your life,
right?
Either refill your life, refill your dash meter, give you invincibility, that sort of thing. This was, I can't remember if I got this before or after Tiny Toons 2. I think I rented it first, though. I do remember that. And then I just really, really liked it. I do remember getting it for Christmas again, so I might have written it down on a list after I rented it. Like, I definitely need this.
That makes sense.
And my parents were willing to definitely get it for me because they, like I said, they like Tiny Toons as well. They liked watching me play it.
Yeah, I also imagine too these games are, they're inoffensive to parents as well.
Oh, for sure.
There's platformers, so it's not like Mortal Kombat. Like I apparently simply put through into your mind and your parents. I don't know, but I got this game. So I remember I got this on clearance at the warehouse because it's one of those games that was like under $10, and I don't remember playing it before then. I don't remember if I rented or anything. But it's a really good platforming game.
You never played it at my house?
I don't know if I guess I would have had to have, right? Did
you?
Because you would have gotten it before me. I guess I would have had to play it there or something. But I remember getting it pretty cheap at the warehouse and then beating it. Like, this is one of the few platforming games that I could just run right through. The graphics in here are really freaking good, though. I would say one standout is that Konami. Like, Konami is one of the best developers of the time, right? Like, they're not doing much of anything nowadays.
Yeah.
But at the time, there's like Konami, Capcom, Sunsoft, handful of others that are always at like the top tier of games. And this was a great example of that because, we had like Turtles in Time and Castlevania and everything else. But Buster Bust Loose is like a freaking gorgeous Super Nintendo game.
It feels like you're playing the cartoon.
It really does. Like this, the Nintendo ones looked impressive, but this is pretty damn close to the cartoon without looking like the cartoon, I would say. The music's really good. A lot of it's adapted from the TV series as well, from what I had read. Like, I don't remember too many of the tunes from episodes because I haven't seen them in like 30 years.
Yeah.
But they did adapt a lot. So again,
a lot of it is just the main theme, but with a certain twang.
Which I like because that was, we'll talk about the Game Boy one, but they sort of like have a different theme on the actual like main title theme song. Yeah. But they all worked. Like, they're pretty fun.
The first level or the first world is you're at ACME University where the kids go to school, and it's just the main theme from the show. Yeah. And it's also just really fun to run through the halls and everything. And then the second world is Western, and it's the main theme again, but like with a twang, like a Western sound.
Yeah, it's really cool and it's really effective. I'd say, definitely buy this one if you have a Super Nintendo, or even, emulate it, do whatever you want. But you should definitely play this one because if you're a fan of Tiny Toons, it's one of the better games on there. There's also a bunch of mini games or mini sort of bonus games in this game, which I thought was really cool. And I remember that as a kid pretty vividly, but it's the Wheel of Comedy, which was taken from the TV show. Yeah. Which I forgot about until I read about it again.
And I always loved playing these mini games. I think
they're so freaking fun.
I think there was a password you could enter where you could just play the mini games.
I remember that, yes.
And we would do that even if it was just the bingo mini game. We would play that over and over.
Yeah, there's a bingo mini game. Plucky has Plucky has the Go-Go Bingo, excuse me. Hampton has like this Hungry Boy Hampton where it's like...
That one was the hardest one.
It really was. You have to like make a path for him to collect and eat apples, which is pretty funny. There's a mystery weight challenge, which is like a seesaw game where you have to outweigh the CPU. Like, you have to select certain characters to outweigh them, which is pretty fun. And then my favorite was Furball's Championship Squash.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, it's just Furball. He has a little paddle, and you have to hit. You're playing squash. Like, it's funny. Like, there's even a glass window to the left to make it look like a squash court.
Yeah.
And you're hitting the ball against the wall, and if you do it 15 times in a row, you get an extra life.
And every once in a while, like Little Beeper or Calamity Coyote would run across.
Yeah, because if you hit them, I think if you hit Calamity, it stops the timer, and I think the other one slows the timer down a little bit, because you can get 15 hits in a row as many times as you want. It's really just a matter of how consistent you are.
Yeah.
And the ball does get faster and faster, and it's just sort of a bigger challenge the more hits in a row you get on there.
My favorite was always the Babs maze thing, but it felt like that one came up the least amount of times in the randomizer.
I think that one I played the least by far. I was always hoping for the squash, but the Babs one, I feel like I barely got to play that one ever. So this game, fantastic. There's 6 levels. This one also has different difficulties, which is cool. I mean, that's always the good thing. Like when you platform, it gives you options for easy, hard, and difficult.
This one was weird though, because it would cut out chunks of the game on easy.
Yes, so easy has smaller levels, and they cut out certain sections. And there's also a specific password mode for easy, from what I read.
Well, that's the one downside to this game is like you can get a password for the other difficulties, but if you enter it, it kicks it down to easy for some reason.
Oh, does it?
I don't know if it's a glitch or an error in the programming, but like the harder difficulties you can't resume from a certain point.
Okay, that's interesting, because it sounded weird to me when I read that, because I don't remember that, because this game isn't that long either. Like most times I would sit through and play it, so I don't really recall using the password except for the minigame one. So when I read that it was only for easy mode, I was like, wow, that's a weird choice. Like, why would they have almost like checkpoints or passwords for easy mode and not for normal and difficult? And
really, easy is the one you don't need it on because it's the shortest. Like, you don't even get to do one of the last levels or the last boss on easy.
Yeah. So it's cool that it's like it's mode for your little brother or sister or something, right? It's something for kids to get into easily.
It was the one I played the most as a kid.
I'm sure, yeah.
There's also another glitch where if you're at the end of World 2, you're running along this train and you're running on these hills, and you get to a certain part and the game kind of takes over and auto dashes for you so that you can jump a really long distance either onto the train or off the train, one of those things. If you've gone into the options and you have switched your dash from the L and R to like one of the face buttons, I usually liked, it won't read it anymore. And
you're kidding.
And then you automatically die at that point in the level every time.
No way.
I was like, for the longest time when I was younger, I was like, why is this game broken? Why am I constantly dying here? And it's because the game took over and then couldn't dash.
That's really funny, because when I was playing this again, I was really considering going back to the controls, which, like customized controls are a thing now, but it was kind of unusual back then. But I wanted to change to the A or something because it just felt so unnatural to hit L or R. Mm-hmm. And I guess it worked out that I didn't, because I didn't know about that glitch. That seems like a pretty big oversight.
Yep.
That you can't finish the game. Overall, though, fantastic game. I really like this one quite a bit.
Yeah, this is another one of my top Super Nintendo games too.
Yeah, I would say so. It's up there for me. And then fun thing too that I knew as a kid and I kind of forgot, but Buster on the cover of this game has like swim trunks. It's just, he's not wearing a shirt or anything or his usual stuff on, but he just has swim trunks. But that doesn't appear at all in the game. Like, I don't know what that was meant for.
You know what I think it might be? I think around 1993 was the movie that they did.
How I Spent My Summer Vacation. Yeah.
And in that one, I'm pretty sure he has swim trunks at the beginning. There's like a summer vibe to it. Uh-huh. And I think maybe there was some sort of like cross promotion type thing.
I guess
here.
It would have had to have been. It's just weird that they would put that on the cover and you don't see it in there, because that would make sense with the Summer Vacation movie.
Yeah.
So the next one we're going to cover is Tiny Toon Adventures Buster's Hidden Treasures for the Genesis. This was, again, published and developed by Konami, released in March 1993. And this game, it has a sort of a story build up to it, and I think there's multiple cutscenes. There's at least one in the beginning from what I got to play. Buster finds a treasure map in the University attic, and it's stolen by Montana Max, and then Max hires Dr. Gene Splicer, which is pretty fun, to turn Buster's friends against him. So you fight, a lot of the bosses in here are Buster's friends, like Dizzy, Plucky, anyone else, because they're sort of being, their minds are being controlled by Dr. Gene Splicer.
He's kind of a bad guy in a lot of the games. He's the first boss in the Nintendo game.
Yeah, he's this weird guy with like these, deep spectacles, like these glasses, and like a bald like hunch.
I think he is a spoof or a satire of a character in a movie, and
He's got to be.
I don't know who it is because I was little at the time.
Yeah.
And I haven't really found him.
Yeah, so that's the whole premise of the story. There's not a whole lot there, like most of these games. There's 30 levels in here, and there's also bosses in between some of these levels. Like I said, there's like Dizzy. There's you fight Montana later. I think you fight Plucky and a few other characters because you have to sort of beat them in order to remove. Like Dizzy has like this spiked helmet that is controlling his mind.
So does I got to the second boss in that, and Calamity Coyote is him, and he has the same thing. He has a spiked helmet. But in that, like, while they're attacking you, you have to attack the doctor.
Yeah, so it's almost like a dual boss fight because you have to attack the doctor like 5 or 6 times, whatever times you have to hit him, and then he loses control of your friend, and your friend can join you.
In the Super Nintendo game, he's a boss in, I want to say, the 5th, maybe the 3rd level. It's like a haunted mansion type thing. But what he does is he uses a character from the cartoon where he's named Gene Splicer because that's literally what he did.
Yeah, he splices genes.
There's this giant like dog monster who's got like the body of a gorilla, the face of a bulldog, these little bat wings. In the cartoon, he seems really scary, but then when he's not being mind controlled, he's the sweetest thing. Babs loves him. And then he's the enemy in the Super Nintendo game. And I was like, he should have been included in the Sega one too, if they're gonna have the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so this game though, I really love this game. I rented this back in the day. I know I didn't get very far because it's not a terribly difficult game, but I feel like the boss probably was a little difficult for me when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I don't know how far I got, but I love this game. There's like 30 levels. To me, this game is like a knockoff Sonic. Down to the fact that Buster has a momentum sort of mechanic where you gain momentum to speed up and run, and then also has like a sort of a baseball slide that slides into enemies, which is really cool. Like you hit B and then he slides into them. There's springs just like Sonic where you get thrown to the verticals of the level. Some of the enemies kind of perform like Sonic. This is very much Tiny Toon Sonic, and I freaking love it.
There's even sections where you push against a little paddle,
yes,
and then it launches you onto a curved ramp.
Yeah. And I really like this game. It's hard to say. Like I think at the end, we should rank some of our favorites, like maybe top 3, and some of the ones we didn't love so much. Maybe we'll do it at the end there. But this one is up there for me because it feels like Sonic. I will say the controls are a little slippery, like more so than the earlier games. Like I think the controls in Buster Bust Loose are really tight and they work really well. But I think I like the variety of this game with the verticality in levels. And again, it's such a Sonic ripoff that I really enjoy how the speed of the game as well.
It's so vertical in some places that you don't even know if you're going the right direction.
Yeah.
Until suddenly you're at the end where Go-Go is. Yeah,
because you're also like platforming. Like there's little blocks that you can jump across, in the sky. And the levels are pretty massive. Like they're not long at all. They're pretty short, but they're pretty big. Like I was going up and up. I was like, geez, like how far does this thing go?
And there's I think there's multiple exits because when you're looking on the little overworld map, you can split off into a couple different directions.
Oh, is that right?
Here and there. Or sometimes you eventually end up going to all of them. Some of them might have been a shortcut or something like that. I enjoyed this game. I had never played it when I was a kid. Obviously, no Genesis. And I also didn't realize it really existed. If I had seen it, I probably assumed it was like the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah,
and then agree. When I finally played it to prepare for this, I was like kind of blown away by how different it was. And I was like, this is very fitting for Sega. Like you said, it's very Sonic, which is totally fine.
It works. Like it's if you're gonna rip off something, rip off Sonic, and it works really freaking well. Like I mean, some of the early levels even look like they could have been in Green Hill Zone.
Yeah,
just like with some of the curves and the swoops and everything. Like it is damn near Sonic without being Sonic. But I have to buy this for myself because I hadn't played it in decades. And I played it again. I was like, damn, this game is really freaking good. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I saw it at one of the game shops or maybe one of the game swaps that we went to. And like I said, I didn't know it really existed or what it was like, but I knew I had to pick it up immediately when I saw it because I'm such a huge like Tiny Toons fan that I needed to play this. It's moved up the list probably for me on my favorites, but it is really tough. The one thing I didn't like was you get the little extra hearts, and then as soon as you die once, you lose the hearts.
Yeah, that was the mechanic back in the day that I hated. It's like when you would get sort of a health boost and you had like you lost a life or game over. It's like, well, now you don't get that extra health that you needed.
I could see if it was a game over and you had to continue, let you lose it. But after losing one life is kind of ridiculous.
At that point, it's just kind of like, it's just like rubbing salt in the wound. At that point.
I also wished the levels were a little more, the themes were a little more unique to the show.
Yeah, so I will say, like, there's two sides of the coin. Like, I think it's great because there are a variety of worlds in here. Like, there's what I put on here. There's a grassland, which is typical, again, like Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
There's a forest. There's dark cave. There's a lake. There's a lava cage kind of area.
The dark cave reminded me of Aladdin.
Yes, it did. Yeah, like the Cave of Wonder, pirate ship, ice mountain, factory. So those, by themselves are a great variety of worlds, but none of them are really related to the TV show.
Yeah,
for the most part,
they work well for this game because it has to be, with the Sonic type of not aesthetic, but what am I saying? Like the Sonic type of movement.
Yes.
So it works. That's really what it is. It works really well for that. But yeah, the other Super Nintendo game had just a theme, the overall theme.
Yeah, it's still an excellent game. I would say this is definitely one to seek out. I'm going to buy myself a copy before it starts to go up in price because I'm sure it will someday. But definitely a fun surprise that I didn't expect to love as much as I did when I replayed it. Because again, like I rented it back then, I haven't touched it since then, so I didn't remember much of the game. I was like, I played it now. I was like, damn, this is really freaking good.
It's also another Sega game that I won't crap on the sound for.
Yeah, the music in here is really good. Yeah. I like it a lot. The sound effects are great. But again, that's Konami. Konami's just with Contra and Hardcore and Castlevania Bloodlines, like they knew the Genesis in and out. They know how to make really good soundtracks.
The one thing I didn't like was there was the jumping sound effect kind of got on my nerves, but every Tiny Toons game that we've talked about so far has had like a jumping sound effect.
I noticed that. Yeah. And I think the Genesis one, it reminds me of the coin collecting noise in Mario.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. Like when I jumped, I was like, that sounds like a Mario coin noise. Yeah. Moving on to the next one. We're kind of getting down to the last three here. So we'll move on to the next one here, which is Tiny Toon Adventures 2, Montana's Movie Madness for the Game Boy. This was, again, developed and published by Konami. It was released in November 1993. And in this game, Montana Max has opened a new theater, and he only shows movies where he is the hero and Buster is the villain.
Yep.
Which is a great premise for an episode, really, for the show. So the whole thing here is Buster has to go into these movies and change the plot so that he's not a villain, which is a funny, I think that's a really hilarious premise. Like Montana's just this rich ego person who makes movies where he's the badass.
Yeah.
And Buster's the bad guy.
It's 93 was a big year for all the releases.
It really was. 3 big Tiny Toon games alone.
Yeah.
It's pretty huge. I mean, that's if there's any sign of how successful that show was, that's it right then and there.
Yeah.
This game, so I like this a lot more than the original Game Boy game.
Wow.
Only largely because the control here is a lot tighter and a lot more responsive.
So I was going to say the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. I do like that there's a dash when you hold down and then go boom, but that really throws you into kind of a uncontrollable sprint forward.
Yeah, you got the momentum.
It's not like the dash in Sega or even the dash in Super. And then like there's some tight platforming where it takes a little extra second for you to stop, and then you'll fall off. I'm like, oh shoot. The other thing I didn't like about this one is you only play as Buster.
That I would say that is the biggest downside of this game is like when pretty much all the other games have had some sort of variety where you're playing as the different tunes. This was surprising that you only could play as Buster on the Game Boy one.
Yeah, and it was really weird when I got this. I found it at a Game Swap. I had forgotten that it even existed.
Me too.
And I was like, when I saw it there, I was like, huh. It was only like $5, so I picked it up right away. But as soon as I started it, I had this wave of memories hit me, and I was like, wait, I've played this before, and I don't remember where or how. I think a friend on the block owned it, but I don't think I ever borrowed it. I must have just played it at their house, and then I never played it again, and it totally left my brain. But as soon as you start it up, instead of the MGM lion, there's the Montana Max face, and he roars.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, I've seen this.
That's pretty funny. Like you just need to play it to trigger all of that to come
Yeah.
through. Yeah. I like this game.
Yeah.
It's a great platforming game. The speed, for one thing, is a lot faster than the original. Like I said, that was one of my biggest things with playing through the Game Boy. The first Game Boy game was how slow everything felt.
Yeah.
This finally felt like a proper Game Boy game or a Game Boy platforming game. And in here, there's 5 stages. So there's like a Western theme movie. There's Samurai Saga, Future Flick, Monster Movie, and the Studio, which is like the movie Backlight where you fight Montana Max. I only got a few levels in here. I think I only got to like the second level, which is like Samurai Saga. And then,
I got to almost did I get to the end of Samurai Saga? I got to one part in Samurai where like there's water constantly moving up and down, and then that killed me.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. Like it's not overtly difficult, but it's definitely harder than the first game, I would think. And it's kind of funny because the Japanese version is easier than this. So this is another case where Japan got the easier version of the game. Levels like Buster Bust Loose, levels are made smaller and some of the sections are removed. And some of the bonus games were easier where you earn an extra life for every 2,000 points instead of 3,000. And on top of that, bosses had only 2 HP instead of 3. And there's also Infinity Continues and a password system, which is a surprise for a Game Boy game, for me, at least for a platformer.
Oh, that was another thing I forgot to mention on the Sega one. Like we talked about, there was a weird password system for Super, and there's a better password system for Sega, but I couldn't figure out how to access it without getting game over.
I don't know, because I know there's I remember seeing sheets for passwords, but yeah, I guess you would have to get game over to get a password, right?
Which was crazy because when I stopped the game the other night, I already had 7 lives.
Oh god!
I had built up so much from the 1-ups and everything
You're right.
I was like, I'm gonna take forever just to get a continue, or like just to get a password.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like Mega Man does it, but you die a lot in Mega Man.
Yeah,
you get a password at the game over, but you're definitely gonna see that at some point in your playthrough. Yeah, I didn't think about that point because you do gain lives pretty regularly in the Genesis one, and then here you have the bonus games, the bonus roulette, which you can get some points which will give you lives, but yeah, I couldn't get a good read on how difficult this game was when I played it. It just seemed medium, like it didn't seem overly difficult, but it seemed like it was just
for
fine.
me, it felt like the difficulty came from my inexperience and just like getting used to the controls.
And that's what it is, because the collision detection is, I think, mostly fine here, but you're right, I think there's a little bit of a weird momentum with the controls, but it still feels tighter than the Game Boy game before this.
Yeah.
Now, I wish I could have how this game feels in the first game, because I think that's definitely what made me like that one better. But also, I think here that it's also just cool with the movie theme sets. Like, I think that's just a fun thing to kind of hang their plot hat on. Is, I mean, the show is rooted in being satire, and what better way than to satire just fake movies with Monty Max?
I watched a playthrough, and the final level, that's the studio. You go through all the levels you just went through, but they look like sets now.
Oh, that's freaking cool!
There's
like just walking by.
There's like tables in the way, and there's like props that are propping up the things and stuff like that. So it looks very behind the scenes at that
really
point.
Cool. Yeah, I may try to finish that one. I don't know, but I really liked that one when I got to play it. I really enjoyed it. All right, I do see the final 2 here. The next game on our list, Tiny Toon Adventures Wacky Sports Challenge for the Super Nintendo as well as the Game Boy. The Super Nintendo version was released in January 1995, and the Game Boy one was December 1994, and again, both published and developed by Konami.
I didn't even realize there was a Game Boy one.
I played it. I played it this morning, actually, as well, because it's not that great. It's not bad, but it's not that great. But we'll get to that in a moment. It's not as bad as you would expect, is what I'll say. So in this game, Max is throwing a sports festival with a $1 million prize, and Buster enters because he wants to prove he's the best athlete. Babs enters because she wants to build her own theater. Plucky enters because he wants to win the money to become a presidential candidate, and Dizzy wants to party all day with lots of food. So all those
on Dizzy.
Yeah, I was gonna say all those characters' motivations I could relate with in some way or another. And the Game Boy version has a little bit different. Go-Go Dodo hosts the festival as you can only play as Buster and Babs to play the game. Like they're the only 2 selectable characters in that one. And that has the Game Boy one has a little bit more traditional sports. Like there's baseball, there's football, tennis. They're really like condensed versions of that.
Oh.
But the Super Nintendo one, you rented this back then, right? Because I had to play at your house because I hadn't heard of this at all.
I rented it, I think, more than once. I really loved this game.
It's really good.
I probably marathoned it nonstop all weekend. Had friends over. We did. I don't know if anybody had the 4-player adapter, But I do know we did a lot of the multiplayer and switching off type thing.
I know one of our friends had the adapter because we played a couple games with it, but I don't recall playing 4-player on this one specifically.
Yeah.
But that's the big key point of this, is that it's a 4-player game, which there weren't many of on the Super Nintendo at all in general. Like, Nintendo 64 made that a normal thing.
Yep.
But back then, it was 2 players or 1. 4 was pretty special. And this game has a bunch of different mini games. They're all sort of different events. My parallel to this, like I mentioned, you Deucy, is one of our favorites on Nintendo 64, Nagano 98 Olympics.
Yep.
Where everything's just an event. It's like some sort of button mashing, track and field type thing. This game's great because before each event, it gives you a little tutorial screen, which is, I think, is like, there should be any game that does these kind of mini games. Like, it's just 1 or 2 screens, couple of forms of text that says, here's how to play this and succeed.
It feels like it inspired Mario Party.
It really did. Like, this is kind of a precursor to Mario Party in a lot of ways. Yeah. There's 13 events. We won't go through all of them, but there's an ice cream throw where it's like, Montana Max, like his little targets pop up on the screen, and you and 3 other players have to just throw ice cream at his face. Yeah. And, first person to hit him scores. And you're just trying to outscore everyone else by hitting the most targets before they do. There's Chicken Dash. There's weightlifting, which is sort of like a button mashing thing where you have to, I think you have to mash it to the right strength and execute and then do it again in 3 phases.
Which is really tough because you've probably moved your thumbs to alternate the buttons.
Yeah, it's A-B-A-B.
Still have to hit the up on the control pad.
Yes.
Which takes your concentration away from the button tapping.
Yeah. And then there's games like bungee jumping where this mode uses mode 7 where you're jumping
it's
with
very
a
Pilot
bungee.
Wings.
It's very much like Pilot Wings, and it reminded me of the Chaos Emerald levels in Sonic 1, like the way it turns and everything, like it spins, and you're collecting different bonuses. Cause it almost looks like a pinball layout or something, where it's like there's different scoring zones.
Yeah.
So this game has a lot of variety just in those 13 events. Like, there's short mini games, but this is like a great party game or a great multiplayer game just on that, because you can, if someone's not played this before, again, like those tutorial screens are great for telling you exactly how to play, because the controls are very simple for everything.
For every game, it's usually button mashing and then time something.
Exactly.
Time a different hit.
They're very simple. And it's I really love this game. I'd like to own it. I don't have it. Did you buy this one?
Yeah, I eventually got it. Back before we really started collecting again, I think I got it off of eBay or something. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because I was just like, hey, I remember this game. I really want it.
Yeah, it's really damn great. So this one, it's one of the more unusual games on this list, but it's also one of the best.
Yeah.
It kind of takes that whole Wacky Land theme in a sense of an amusement park. And this is what the Nintendo game probably wished it was, where it's like a collection of different mini games and events. But it does it really, really well. Like this one, I really love this one. And whenever you played it, I was like, oh god, I really love this game so much. Like, I forgot how great this game could be. I really would like to play this 4-player at some point, because I don't think we ever got to try that. So it'd be really fun to try out. I do have the multi-tap for Super Nintendo.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We were supposed to play Bomberman. What else? We were going to play something else.
Looney Tunes B-Ball is 4-player.
That's right. Looney Tunes B-Ball.
Yes.
Oh, God. We got to talk about that someday. And the Game Boy one, I know you can get to play this. So this one, it's like... this one takes... It's more from like traditional sports. So I only got to play a few of the events. I got up to tennis. There's 2 modes. So one mode is basically like sports, and there's a second one that's called Carnival. Carnival is just like a selection of mini games where it's like Fifi has a water scoring challenge, which is basically you shooting water at like you're in front of like a saloon, and you're shooting like these rat guys, like these enemies, and then your friends pop up, and if you shoot them, it counts as a miss. And if you miss 3 times, you lose. It's just a high score thing. It's not really anything to write home about. It's nothing terribly exciting. And then who's the other one? Shirley Loon has Water Panic. This one is weird because Dizzy is in the corner parched. He's very, very thirsty. And then Elmira is running along this pipe above you, and there's cracks in the pipe that drip water. And you collect the water. It's like a Double Dare game from that Double Dare TV show.
Oh, wow.
So you collect water, give Dizzy the water, and then when you fill up his meter and he's hydrated, then he punches the pipe back up. Because if you keep missing water droplets, then the pipe goes down and down. It's almost like a time game where it's like the closer she gets to you, then she sort of crushes you, right?
Yeah, she always likes to pet and hug the animals.
Yeah, but the main meat of this game is in these, I think they call it sports mode, and you can only play as Buster or Babs. And these are like slimmed down versions of sports. So baseball, Dizzy's your pitcher, and then behind him he has like, it says out, home run, for 1 base, 2 base, 3 base, and those randomize each time you hit. So it's kind of like basketball in a sense where
It reminds me of like a little baseball pinball type of thing.
right. Yes, that's great. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you hit you smack the ball, and then depending on what you hit, right, you run one base, two base, you get a home run, and you have to beat him with 2 points. Of course, there's like there's like a more difficult mode, and you have to have more points. So it's a condensed version of baseball. There's no running. There's nothing else. It's just you hitting a ball into these targets at a certain angle. There's American football, which is funny that they call it American football. It's not just football. This one, it's just your Buster running from one end of the field to the other, and you're dodging defenders. That's it. Nothing else.
Oh, they had that. That was a level in the Super
Buster
Nintendo.
Bust Loose. Yeah. So it's a version of that, but less fun because you have to do it 4 times. And then I got the tennis, which is kind of like squash from Buster Bust Loose, where you're just hitting the ball against the targets on the back wall.
Oh,
it's really boring. So, again, like as a kid, maybe I would have enjoyed this because it's like portable sports on the go, but it's not.
I would have, by the time this came out with the Super Nintendo, I would have known the difference, and I would have not liked it.
Exactly. I think that's what it is. Like, if this was your only choice, it probably is fine, but if you have wacky sports or this, you're going to go for wacky sports because even this is just like, it's just such a basic game. It's not terrible. It's just, there's not much to do. Like, it's just not a very fun game. I mean, I would like to try soccer, basketball, and golf, but I have a feeling there's going to be like, golf's probably going to be like, all right, sink the hole. Or basketball's like, golf 3-pointer.
I'm guessing golf is mini golf.
It has to, that's true. Or it could be mini golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would make the most sense. And I don't know what basketball could be.
Basketball
I'm sure
is probably like a half court, just playing horse, or not even horse, but like just shooting from a single shot or something.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. So really basic game, not bad, but wacky sports for Super Nintendo is the one you want to get. That one is really excellent.
For sure.
Yeah. The last game we'll cover on this list is Tiny Toon Adventures ACME All-Stars for the Genesis. This was released September 1994 and again developed by Konami and published by them. And in this game, Acme University is holding a tourney to build an all-star team. So all of the characters are out to show that they're the best athlete among all these games. So this one uses, unlike Wacky Sports, it's more rooted in traditional sports. There's basketball, there's soccer, there's bowling, there's like an obstacle course race, and there's it's called Montana Hitting, which is really weird. It's just called Montana Hitting, and it's just a whack-a-mole game. This one also is one of the few Genesis games that supports 4 players. This one, I never played a 4-player Genesis game in my life. I didn't know there was a multi-tap for years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's kind of surprising. This game also has different sort of level themes, and each of them has like they have like different hazards on the court. Like I think it's the downtown one, like there's spilled oil that can make you slip. The forest, or excuse me, the western one has like horses that can like back kick you. So it adds a little bit of variety to it. I will say, Deucy, did you get to play this much at all? Like, have you played this at all ever?
No, I've never even seen it out in the shops that we hit up.
Me neither.
I watched a playthrough on YouTube, but it only covered really the soccer and the basketball, and then a couple of the mini games in between.
Yeah, so I played all the games in here. Like, there's only 5 or 6 of them, and they're all pretty not good. I had a lot of fun with bowling, but it's a really simple bowling because it's just like bowling games of the time where, you select your power and then you have like this, the angle kind of varies. So you have to time your angle and hit it there. And then the ball hits or, gets thrown and whatever pins you hit, get hit. I think it's only one player, or at least the one player that I played. So no matter what, you're playing against other characters. So you have to sit through their shots.
The one thing
I play 5 frames.
The one thing I noticed about the basketball and the soccer that I kind of liked was that a lot more of the characters were involved.
Yeah, so the cool thing is you can pick your formations, right? So you can pick your teams. That's kind of a cool aspect is there's a pretty good cast of characters, and then you could assign them different positions. So if you want like Hampton as a goalie, you can do that, or as Buster as a forward or something. The problem I have with this game is like basketball, soccer, and what was the other one? Obstacle court. Right, basically all of them. Basketball and soccer particularly were not fun to control because one button is it's jump as well as I think it's like it's like a shove thing. But if you're too far from somebody, you just jump. So it's one of those context things where if you're not close enough, you'll do one action. If you're too far, you do an action you don't want because if you jump, well, they're running away from you. They're already at the other side of the court. Soccer was like really clunky. It didn't feel fun to play. The controls were kind of weird. Like it's simple. Like you have a pass, and you have a swap characters button. and there was also like a special ability one that I couldn't really wrap my mind around. Like the special ability didn't seem to help too much because you also have a meter that recharges.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't feel fun to play. I don't know if multiplayer would make it better.
Which is a shame because maybe if they focused on just one of the sports.
I think that's what the problem was.
Like, if they can make Mega Man into a soccer game, like Tiny Toon seems a lot more fitting towards that.
It should have.
Where like Looney Tunes B-Ball was a great basketball game and it had wacky Looney Tunes types moves, special moves and things. You can totally do that for soccer with Tiny Toon characters.
Yeah, this one, I tend to feel this one might have been rushed or something. It just doesn't feel like Wacky Sports was released. What was it, like a year before this or shortly before it? No, I'm sorry. Wacky Sports was January 95. This was September 94. So Wacky Sports was 3-4 months down the line.
This was before even the Game Boy Wacky Sports.
Yeah. And it's just, again, it's not a terrible game, but it just isn't very fun to play by yourself. And I can't imagine the controls or anything would make it better for multiplayer because...
But it would be I'm assuming it would be a little more fun versus each other because you're both dealing with...
you're both contending with the poor controls and the poor gameplay. Absolutely. I think that's really the silver lining, so to speak.
Misery loves company.
Exactly, yeah, because it just doesn't feel fluid. It just doesn't feel good to play. And it sucks because, really it's just basketball and soccer are like the two most active games, and you have an obstacle course, which kind of reminds me of RC Prime in a sense where it has that isometric perspective.
Oh, yeah.
And you're mashing to run through, and then there's different debuffs and buffs on the ground. But the problem is like the screen is really small, so it's like if you're rounding a curve and you're too far behind, well, they're just gonna propel you forward because the screen can't have you off screen.
Oh yeah,
right. So some of those things are just like there's 4 players. The course is kind of tight and windy. So it's not very fun. Like you're just mashing, and you're both, like you said, miserable company in that sense. And bowling is just super basic. It's bowling. There's nothing exciting about it. It's just pick your power, your angle, and that's really it. And then whack-a-mole is just like that one feels most like a Mario Party game where it's just Montana Max popping up from the ground. You have mallets, and all 4 of you are running around to try and mash them, and it's just chaos. That's all it is. So it's like this game overall is, I'm going to say, is the weakest out of the bunch just because the mechanics of it just don't work. And it's just there's just nothing much to play on here. Like it's strictly a multiplayer game without much multiplayer.
Yeah.
So overall, like I was really disappointed with this. I was hoping it'd be a lot better because I never heard this back then either. It just felt like one of those games that was released and by, what was it, September 94. I mean, I was still deep in Genesis back then. I guess it's just were released and me not knowing about it.
What's wild is like when you mention Tiny Toon Sports, I think the Super Nintendo one.
Me too.
Immediately. A lot of people out there think of this one, and they talk about it with reverence and everything. Like, oh man, yeah, that was a great game. And
yeah,
I'm like, no, you haven't played great until you've played Wacky Sports.
I really want you to try it just to get a feel for it because. Especially after you know how good Wacky Sports is, like I'm curious to see what your reaction to this was because I played this basically right after Wacky Sports.
Oh yeah,
I was like, God, this just isn't. It's such a miss. Like it just feels like it could have been so much more. Like you said, if they just maybe focused on like a couple of games or, did like Wacky Sports, which is like a variety of games, but they're all short and small, not like full, court games.
Yeah, just focus on Olympic type games.
Yeah.
Mini games.
Yeah. And also by this time NBA Jam was out, so I'll also be hard pressed to recommend this over NBA Jam.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or any of those games, or Mega Man Soccer maybe is better. I don't know if it came out by then or not, but I'm sure there's better soccer games around that didn't need Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
So that makes it for our list, Deucy. So I think we should go into what our favorites were. Like maybe what do you want to do? Like top 2, top 3? What are you feeling?
Shoot,
we only have 9.
I was thinking of that after you said it. I've been kind of thinking about it throughout the episode, and I could do a top 3 or maybe even a top 5 because I have a couple.
Oh, you got top 5. Well, you know what? I'll do top 3. You do top 5 because you have more experience with these than I do for sure.
Yeah.
And I could definitely name 3 that I think are top of the echelon for me.
I think I would actually put the original Nintendo one at 1.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Wacky Sports 2. I'd say Buster Bust Loose 3. The Game Boy 1. Bab's Big Break 4, and now the Sega 1 5.
5. I figured that would round in there. My top 3, I kind of have a hard time with 1 and 2 now, but it's only because I think recency. I have to put Buster Bust Loose at the top because I played that the most back then, but 1B would have to be the Genesis one, the Hidden Treasures. And I only say that because It probably would be my number one if I played it more.
Oh yeah,
right? Because it just feels like more of my type of game. Like it's just I love how Sonic it is without being Sonic. And then 3 is Wacky Sports. I think that one is one of my favorites, out of the whole series. And if I was to do a 4 and 5, I probably would put the Nintendo one right after that at number 4, and then 5. I guess they have to be Bab's Big Break. Or no, the other one. I'm sorry. Was the other one? The
Tiny Toons 2 on the
Montana's Movie Madness.
Yeah.
So that'd be my 5. But top 3: Buster Bust Loose, Hidden Treasures, and Wacky Sports. And I think if anyone else out there chooses one of those 3, they're gonna have a great time with those.
Oh, for sure.
So if you want to tell us what your favorite Tiny Toon Adventures games are, let us know. You can let us know at legiongamingpod@gmail.com. If you want to send us an email there. We primarily post on Instagram or at Legion Gaming Podcast. So please join us, follow us there. And of course, if you want to listen to us, we're here every single Thursday with a new episode. Next week, we're going to be covering sequels, like some of our favorite and best sequels ever. Sequelitis, which will be great. I think this will be a really fun episode. Deucy, any final words for our Wacky and Loony friends before we go off in Acme University?
That's all, folks.